If it's one body we're talking about, well, I'm ready for that. But 3 people who could potentially slam right into me, well, that makes me a bit uneasy. Right, gentlemen. For starters, I think I should hold the camera like this, while we're given instructions. Just look at those happy faces. This dude's pretty young, so the fear hasn't quite settled in yet, but this man obviously has some life experience. Now, he knows very well what could go wrong. It's just that I think I should tell you how to bail out just in case. Yeah. Now it's time to show you guys what we're up against. Nobody said this was gonna be easy. You wish. Alright, gentlemen. In the years I've been doing these reviews, I have driven a bunch of different vehicles. Asphalt pavers, excavators, and a few others. But today we've got something that everybody's aware of. If for some reason you don't know what a Sherp is, allow me to fill you in. The only way I know how. On one hand, it's a pretty cool thing. In my estimation, it drives only slightly worse than a lot of Samara. If it were to drive during a snowstorm in a groove left by one of those. That said, it costs in excess of $92,000. And for that sort of money, you and your dad can put together 2 or 3 of these in your garage. Only yours would be better, allegedly. And today we'll figure out how this all works. Let's get started. All the interesting stuff is going to be unfolding as we go. Check this out. They gave me some promotional souvenirs, but that doesn't make me a sellout. This is actually safety gear. Right? Can it protect you if you take a kick to the head? Well, let's find out. Okay, I believe you. Sherp is all about quality stuff. This is all just in case I start flying around the cabin. After all, I don't know how to drive this thing. And I am the type to start working the pedals and the handles like a complete idiot. So, just to be on the safe side, I need to fasten my seat belt, and obviously wear some protection, which isn't a helmet or a baseball cap. Buckling up seems pretty easy. The gearbox in here is quite normal. The gear selector is out of a lot of Priora. Plus we have a couple of funny-looking levers over here. You might think that you have to put some effort into it, like in a tractor, but that's not the case. They're actually hydraulically assisted. It doesn't have a steering wheel, but it does have power steering. These are steering controls, right? Steering without a steering wheel, but with a power steering system, so that I don't have to explain it twice. And you only need to use your fingers. This is how you show all of the countries who are members of NATO who's the real boss. We obviously have to start in first gear, which has an extremely short ratio as per usual. There is no brake pedal, and I have to say, dude, my sphincter isn't just tightly shut right now, it's almost ready to crack, man. Alright, just don't touch anything. It's quite fascinating looking at the car from underneath. For those of you interested, here's a quick review of the Sherp's underbody. It is completely covered up, plus you have a drain plug right over there. And that's it. The rest is just a bunch of welding. Check this out. The ground clearance is 60 centimeters, and it still has a ton of battle scars. It's pretty beat up, isn't it? Plus you have some cones on the wheels to keep all of the inner workings protected. Look at that, they've sealed off the wheels from the inside. It would be pretty unpleasant if this tree here were to break. Right, we got 2 exhaust pipes. Here's the main dump pipe over here, plus one for the Webasto. How do they keep the water out? Good question, but the water does in fact stay out of there. Take a look at how much snow we got. We are quite literally knee-deep in snow. It can even start in that position, which means the fuel is making it to the receiver. Now to the question whether the Sherp is harmful to the environment. Check this out. The bark is perfectly intact, not even a scratch. So this thing treads lightly, without damaging anything, which means you won't be doing any harm to Mother Nature. Let's keep going. Release the clutch and it just goes. No need to even rev the motor. And to turn, we pull the lever on the left. Then we press the gas and get stuck. Now, how did that happen? It's all because I forgot to let the air out of the tires. So the current tire pressure is about 12 psi. That's actually 1.2 psi. Oh, so it's 1.2 psi. So that's less than 0.1 atmospheres? 100 millimeters is about... Okay, so 100 is 0.1 atmospheres. And we're at 0.08. And even that's too much. It's as if the tires are made from wood. 0.08 is a far cry from the standard 2.5. Now what do? We open the Italian faucet, which I take it you bought at a local plumbing shop at a discount price, right? And we let out some air. That's not me, that's the car. You can actually hear it from up here. How far do we go? Is that okay? No? To where it says snow. Snow is like half of 1 psi. Even if we bring it down to 0, that shouldn't harm the tires, right? Okay, tire pressure is at 0.6 psi, and now it should go like hell, correct? Well, at least it's turning. And to make it go like this, you have to do that. Since the snow is kind of deep and we have some bushes, I was told that you only need 2 or 2.5 hours to get the hang of driving this thing. But I think I could spend my entire life learning. Let's keep going. $92,000 and no winch? You'd lose the seal on the body. Why not make a special hatch for mounting it? I really don't see the problem. We have a few ideas, but you need to bear one thing in mind. And this happens to all of the customers who install winches. What's that? You don't drive as carefully. You're like, if something does go wrong, I have a winch. So it's best not to have one in the first place. If you have a winch, you have a winch. And if you don't, you don't. It's always better to have something than not to. I suggest we go for a drive. Then you can decide whether it's all that necessary. Oh, I can easily create a situation where we need one. We don't even have to go anywhere. We almost made it, actually. I was actually thinking about how to install a winch onto my Range Rover. And that's not down to me not having foresight. It's actually quite the contrary. Alright, listen up. Later this evening you go back and just make it happen. I'm telling you, this will help your sales. Things will start looking up for you. You said you guys make 15 cars a month, right? You can turn that into 115. All you have to do is put a hatch right here with some lot of weather sealing. You open it up, and there you have a mounting point. I'll accept my cut later. Let's get out of here, Vlad. This review's done. I like this thing. It was pretty nice. Alright, gentlemen, we have found ourselves a challenge. We're going to try using this Sherp to pull out a semi-truck. This is quite an unusual situation. The semi is stuck, and we're here to help out. Okay, so we needed a slightly different vehicle. Plus we've brought a few more people along for the ride. And here's what we got. Now, this is some serious machinery. Yeah, huh? I can see it's moving. I'm just a bit worried about that Logan. Right, I see. So the main thing here is patience. You do remember the movie Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man, don't you? The one where that dude said, you have to squeeze the trigger, not yank it. It's not your dick. Now we just let everything go, hang on, and now things are getting interesting. Oh man, this is wild. I can feel them slamming into the sheet metal. Now why'd you have to open the window? To get some fresh air? Oh yeah, we did make it to a river, the two of us. I guess it's more romantic that way. Okay, now we want to get out of here. Right. So we point the vehicle, we get to the ledge and go full throttle, right? This is pretty unusual. And now we go full steam. If the ice were a bit thicker, we would have made it on top, right? What's going on to the ice? Oh my god! We just tore a hole back there. It's not gonna go over that, come on. We're literally facing a wall, even though the snow might seem level. Seriously? What if we were to rocket back and forth? Will it make it onto the ice? Go full throttle. How can it not work when we just got out of there? Did you know about this? Alright, Sherp people, I'm gonna take you guys to school today. Look at the damage we've caused. Then we go forward, right? Yeah. This is insane. What is this Sherp doing? Fourth gear? What do you think? This is awesome. You know what? As sad as that might sound, but I want to buy one. Okay, so you pay 100,000. That's pretty disturbing, actually. For $100,000, you can buy yourself a new life. Then again, if you buy yourself a Sherp, your life... it'll take a pretty dramatic turn, I reckon, in terms of its scenario. Here we have a 1.5-liter diesel, like in a Renault Duster, but slightly better. And here we have a crazy, impressive-looking, and dare I say it, even charismatic driveline. This is what makes the vehicle turn. This whole sinister-looking metal construction transfers torque from the engine to the wheels, while maintaining the exact proportion you need. We also have a couple of clutch packs in there, which distribute torque from the motor to one axle or the other, which means we don't have a center differential, because we have one axle, which distributes torque between two axles. I guess I should make a few drawings. Right, guys, so we have 4 wheels. It's not necessarily a precise description, but we do in fact have 4 wheels and just one axle. And at each end, we have a couple of chains just like on your bicycle, albeit slightly worse. Now, those go to the wheels. All of this does work, and the chains don't even snap. How? The chains are pretty solid, but if I understand correctly, this whole mechanism is under a ton of stress. In any case, they've made it all durable. There are a few videos showing them breaking, of course, but in our case, they're not letting me tackle any obstacles that would be too much. Which is to say that if you're a winner, you can get anything to break, even a glass. I've already asked, and I've been told that you can't get one of these with a V8, but I'm still pretty sure that if you were to install one, it can easily handle it. It does have a gearbox, which looks exactly like the one in your Lada. Sherp's R&D department probably steals them from Ladas at night, so that's why there are so many Ladas without a gearbox parked in Rybatska in the morning. The guts can be removed and replaced with new running gear. The priciest bit is the casing, which is obviously quite expensive and hard to make. It's much simpler to source a mass production item and just put your own components inside, with the bespoke gear ratios. The gear change is very precise, by the way. The synchros do lag a bit. Maybe you guys should talk to your supplier about that. A lot of custom work went into making this properly function. For example, the tires on this thing are unique. As it turns out, you can't even buy them if you don't own one of these Sherps. Now that's a greedy move. This does, of course, make the entire layout somewhat exclusive. Plus, you can tell how intelligent these people are. They're the ones raking in the cash. If you want these tires, you have to get yourself a Sherp. What's left for the competition, though? Nothing. The way you guys reacted to that comment, in order to mount these tires properly, some custom wheels had to be made. So apparently everybody in the R&D department already had 22 and 23-inch rims, so they had to one-up those guys. Which is why for this vehicle they made some 25-inch wheels. Nobody knew why exactly you needed such gigantic and pretentious wheels, which is why as an afterthought they came up with the idea of mounting some fuel canisters inside. If we didn't have this on film, nobody would believe us. So they're using 25-inch wheels on this thing. You can let out as much air as you want, but the vehicle doesn't go any lower than it would need to retain its off-road capabilities. Oh my god. You guys seem to know your stuff. Now me and my dad have even less chances of building something like this in our garage, given all these small details that we're only finding out now. And on top of that, they add some fuel canisters to these wheels. I should install some screens onto mine. Now that'll make driving a lot more fun. The main problem with this car is that, despite everything in here seeming straightforward, with it being built using existing parts, there's actually a ton of custom stuff in here. That's where you get the extra manufacturing costs, and an ungodly amount of man-hours spent on research and development. And only after that does it make it to the assembly line, which is apparently the easiest part of the entire process. It's thanks to the R&D department's hard work that you can put this thing together using a stick and a rock. Am I going to need a 13mm spanner? 2 13mm spanners. Now that sounds unnecessarily complicated. Right, I'm out. I think I get it now. All around the world, about 700 of these vehicles have been sold, or so they tell us. And that is quite a lot, actually. We are talking special equipment which costs about $100,000. So this is a pretty successful project. They sell these all around the world. It's obviously overpriced. I mean, they should go for 23 grand, and that's if I'm being generous. But people are paying 100,000. I guess the supply satisfies the demand. Which begs the question, who actually buys these things? I'm told that they're a pretty diverse group. You've got all sorts of buyers, and they all have different goals in mind. But I do think that they have at least one thing in common. And that's the fact that they need to have a lot of spare time on their hands. I can't imagine buying something like this for just the occasional short drive, when in fact you can take it pretty much anywhere. And I mean somewhere only a helicopter can take you. Or some other sort of aircraft. But this thing can actually drive you there. And it doesn't matter if you have a long river or a swamp in your path, or you have to climb some mountains, for example. Doesn't matter. If I had a vehicle like this, I'd go, well, long story short, if I had one of these, you would never see me on the internet. I'd get behind the wheel and just drive with all of the weird thoughts floating around in my head, just to see what lies beyond that turn, which I will most definitely be able to navigate. Yes, I do think that this thing is overpriced. They should sell it at a cheaper price. But people are actually paying the money to get these, and you can't really argue with that. However, my common sense does suggest that they should be somewhat cheaper. But who cares about all of that when this project is indeed a reality? It's an interesting vehicle that sells. And it drives too. Alright, gentlemen, that was a review of the Sherp. Thanks a lot for watching this video. I already said it, and yes, it is a pretty stupid idea, but I'd buy one. If only I had a bit more income. Thanks a lot for watching this video. Good luck to all of you, and goodbye.